Hey there, I'm Catherine. Welcome to my channel. Today we are watching the series finale of the originals because I love pain and sadness and being sad. No, I've been rewatching the originals, and while my rewatch took a little longer than expected because I got distracted by the literal devil,
I would never.
It ended up working in my favor because I'm now on the last episode the same week that the MIKAELSONs are having a family reunion on Legacies, and I figured what better way to prep for the reunion than to watch the last episode of the MIKAELSON family all together. Sometimes people get annoyed when I do like reaction review videos of stuff that I've already seen. I personally enjoy it because I think I can have a more in-depth discussion when I'm watching something a second or even like third or fourth time. But if that's not your thing, I do have a lot of first time reaction videos, so you can check one of those out up here. If you're new here, I would love to have you subscribe. The last episode we left off with Klaus taking on all of the dark magic that was inside Hope from the Hollow during her first werewolf transformation so that the magic wouldn't kill her, and the episode cut to black right as Klaus was just about to drive the white oak stake into his own heart for full dramatic effect. So got me dagger necklace, got my daylight ring, got makeup that probably won't survive the episode. I will never be emotionally ready for this episode.
Dad?
Oh, that's why he stops. Right, okay. I was like, how is Elijah just gonna smack the stake out of the hand? I really couldn't remember.
You made my decision.
And I've made mine.
She's so powerful. They really do not explore her full power in the original, or in Legacies. It's seriously messed up that Klaus was just ready to take himself out without saying a proper goodbye to his daughter. Like, what did he think that was gonna do to her?
He's a cockroach that will outlive us all.
A cockroach of a creature who wrought havoc on this earth for 1,000 years and can never be stamped out, ever.
Cole agreeing with Alaric is so on brand.
I don't think he would notice or care that I wasn't there to witness it.
Why does Cole suck so much? Hey, Riley.
All right, then we're gonna have to pull the darkness out of him. Divide it up again.
And then we end up where we started.
Is it just me, or would have dividing up the dark magic and having them separate again be a better option than killing her dad?
Baby, I'm not even here. I'm a hallucination.
Oh, she looks good.
What are you doing here?
Baby, I'm not even here. I'm a hallucination.
Don't talk about my daughter.
Klaus really said, take her name out of your mouth.
Kill her.
Why is Michael out here sounding like the basilisk in the Chamber of Secrets?
Kill her.
Oh, he's like an off-brand Damon car. The fact that it is literally canon that Damon and Cole hooked up in the 50s, but it just wasn't included because it wasn't relevant to the plot. And he has a copycat Damon car, and they always had so much beef.
Better than being fatherless.
Seriously, Hope wants like anything other than to just not have her dad. I've literally seen this film before.
I should have taken the power when I had the chance.
He literally didn't have the chance though. Like, Klaus snapped his neck. The thing is, it would have made so much more sense for Elijah to take it than Klaus. Like, I wish Klaus would have understood that. We can rant about that at the end, or like during this entire episode.
I thought it could clear Klaus's mind enough so that he might enjoy his last moments.
I love her voice so much.
Why are you packing your stuff into boxes?
I'm going home to the woman I love instead of wallowing in this toxic, codependent nightmare we call family.
This house is a fucking nightmare!
You really don't care?
I don't.
Me lying. She should have all of those pictures at her bedside at school instead of just a photo of her and Landon.
What have you done? What I've always done. Followed you into the fire. Freya channeled some of the dark energy into me. It won't last for long. It should clear your mind, though.
Does that mean it would all go back into Klaus eventually and leave Elijah anyways? I'm just trying to figure out if two people really needed to die because I've always felt like they didn't.
You have to let me do this my way. Alone.
Wait a minute. Klaus asking Elijah to let him do something alone versus Hope's humanity subconscious telling her
Alone is the exact way you can't do it. Because I am my father's daughter. But I'm not gonna make the same mistakes.
And all I can think about is how much I want to show it to you. You saved it.
You owe me a tour.
She saved that voicemail for like over a decade, and people think that they aren't endgame.
You mean to tell me you're not absolutely terrified of bringing a kid into this world?
Me.
I've lost too many people. I've hurt too many people. And that is a curse that I refuse to pass on to another generation.
He's so real for that. So real for that.
I have 3 brothers. One's dying, one's a deserter, and one's an enabling mess.
Finn just chilling in the grave.
I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing.
The little fool is right.
Which fool?
Cole.
Cole,
Broken clocks are right twice a day.
happiness is a choice.
Like, is it though? Is it?
But if you don't say goodbye, if you leave Hope with questions and pain and anger, you'll haunt her.
I love that they bring back Caroline and we get to see this grown-up, refined version of Caroline. I wish we got to see her on Legacies literally at all.
I'll never forget you.
Okay, thank God. For a moment, I thought that they didn't have one more kiss because they had that almost kiss before in the last episode.
One of you stands, walks to the door, but doesn't turn back.
Eek, how can you actually not look?
And without you, he wouldn't be making this sacrifice.
I don't know if that's the right thing to say to her.
Elijah was willing to take the curse completely.
And what kind of father allows another man to die for his child?
The kind that loves her.
I love you.
Seriously, it's just like Elijah has so much guilt, and like rightfully so, from the part he played in Haley's death. And Hope would obviously be so much better off without Elijah than she would be without Klaus, and she definitely would be better off without Elijah than she will be without both of them.
I just got you back. So why does it have to be today?
Because you've helped me feel something that I never thought was possible. Unconditional love.
It's Danielle. Like, it's Danielle that really gets me emotional because I don't know what, when she's crying, I feel it in my soul. She's such a talented actress.
Oh, wait, do you remember that April Fool's in Copenhagen where he compelled a circus troupe to follow you around?
Also known as the most challenging 36 hours of my long.
That's hilarious. I could watch a whole show that's just of the vampire shenanigans that they've all gotten into over the centuries. For me, to really love a character, like I need the show to have depth and intensity. Like I really need them to go through it. But then once I'm loving the character, I just want to see them be happy. Like I love this family and I want to see them have more happy times.
I should have known this was going to be redundant.
Bourbon's never redundant.
How did whiskey become the official drink of the Vampire Diaries universe? I also noticed that Lucifer's always drinking bourbon on Lucifer. Like, is it just the bad guy drink? Not even like the bad guy, like the monster drink.
Hello?
God, the casting of this family was just so truly on point. The music is so upbeat. I wish they were like really trying to devastate me more this entire episode. I want to be in insane pain this whole time.
I will never abandon you.
And then he doesn't show up for 4 years. Why do they have Rebecca wearing such a like bright standout shirt right now? I feel like a nice dark green really would have tied in.
We're at a funeral.
Her crescent earrings. Oh my.
Long after I'm gone, you will all come together. Time and time again.
Next episode.
Always and forever.
Always and forever.
I hate that Always and Forever was like such a sacred thing to their family, and then like Landon just says it randomly.
I love you, Hope. Always and forever.
There's something else we need to discuss.
Elijah, come on.
And I promise you, I'm gonna do right by our name.
The way that she was, her last conversation with Klaus was her being so worried about making him proud. And then Rebecca says he'd be so ashamed when she sees her with her humanity off.
How do we do this?
I wish I knew.
So messed up. She had like no time actually getting to be with him.
I've asked Caroline to get you the cure.
I don't even understand how Caroline got the cure. Like, she took it out of Elena, and Elena's fine because she was just like normal aged. When she turned into a vampire, she's not like hundreds of years old, so if she ages up, she'll be fine.
No off-topic questions.
I love that it's just the core three of them here at the end. Like the first of the original siblings that we see, and the last of the original siblings that we see on the...
I intend to die by your side.
They literally had to be like holding a gun to Daniel's head to get him to say that. Because Elijah has made selfish choices. We know he's consistently not great at keeping his word. But the thing is, Klaus has had this massive character development of like he would do anything for Hope. And Elijah kind of hasn't had the same because he's doing this for himself. He can't live with the guilt, which is why he should have been the one who just took on all of the dark magic and died. But him dying alongside Klaus when he doesn't need to and leaving Hope behind is like the opposite of character growth. Like, I understand why Daniel Gillies gets so pissed about this ending because it's, look how they massacred my boy.
To be or not to be was taken from us by Esther, and Michael stolen from us, Niklaus.
To be or not to be is taken from everyone the moment they're born. The way they didn't chain him to a chair to talk him out of this is absurd.
Each of them give me their blessing.
Did he say goodbye to Hope?
What about Hope?
Wow, that's a great question.
She is the very best of me.
Because the very best of me is in you.
It hurts. It hurts.
No.
Two witches and a werewolf. This kid's gonna have one hell of a temper.
Can you mix DNA from 2 eggs to make an embryo?
If that madman, Klaus Mikaelson, can find the courage to sacrifice everything for his family, maybe I can find the courage to deal with the possibility of loss.
Vincent being a braver man than Elijah, so true of him.
I would very much like to be your wife.
I do.
I feel like if I was Marcel, I would like say no to that. Like, I would need to have some self-respect. She's only coming to him the moment she loses her brothers, who she's always prioritized over him. Daniel's literally just crying because of the fact that his character didn't need to die, and he's so pissed about it. Dying via blunt stake.
I'm the hybrid! I can't be killed!
Psych!
I'm the hybrid! I can't be killed! That's too damn bad! I can't be killed!
Excuse me?
I can't be killed!
Wrong.
I can't be killed!
So that was a fucking lie.
You're done. You're done.
Why did they literally turn into just like ashes and dust like Voldemort does at the end of Harry Potter? I survived. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how I didn't cry like I thought I was going to. So the first time that I watched this finale, the only other time I've watched this finale, I was very much sobbing. I think I cried for like hours after, honestly, but in retrospect, it was early quarantine 2020. I was definitely going through a lot that had nothing to do with this show at the time, and I think, see, I'm about to get more emotional talking about that than I did during the actual episode. The Vampire Diaries universe was once again acting as a conduit to really like let me feel my negative emotions. You know, sometimes you just need that thing that makes you cry, that like lets you know it's okay to let it out. And that's part of why I love the Vampire Diaries and the originals and this universe so much, is because it always has given me the space to do that whenever I've been like going through a really hard time. And also just like makes me happy when I'm going through a hard time. I completely understand the way that at like every convention when someone brings it up, Daniel is so mad about the fact that they killed Elijah in the way that they did, because that is some BS. I guess I understand why they didn't do it, because spoiler alert for the Vampire Diaries series finale as well, like the Vampire Diaries did end with Stefan, arguably the martyr brother and the stronger moral compass between the two brothers, sacrificing himself for his brother and for the town and for everyone that he loves. And so I guess that the reason that they didn't just have it be Elijah taking on the dark magic and dying was because that would be too similar to that ending. But I personally think I would have liked that. I very much like parallels, so I think I would have liked that, but maybe they would have felt like that was lazy writing. Personally, I feel like it's lazier writing to just kill a character without any real like purpose. Like I said, it just feels like the opposite of character growth for me. There's a lot of other scenes in the originals that devastate me a lot more than the finale. Like, for example, Camille's death. That death scene is probably like the most beautiful death scene in the Vampire Diaries. That gets me every time. And Haley's death, but more importantly, like Hope seeing Haley, like in the last episode when she sees Haley while she's dead for a few minutes, that had me sobbing when I watched it last night, like full blown. If they're capable of pulling out those stops, do they just want it to be like they wanted us to feel happy with that ending? Like they wanted us to feel that that is a good thing that they're doing that? Because I can't feel happy with that ending, especially knowing how it plays out for Hope and knowing how she emotionally struggles for the next like many years, like doesn't even want to open herself up to people, doesn't want to make friends, and now she's the tribrid and literally can't handle her emotions because of how much loss she's had to deal with in her life. But it's like that is tragic and that is devastating. Even like in the Vampire Diaries finale when Elena's like, that is the promise of peace, that one day after a long life we find each other again. That monologue there is so good, and I feel like if you are not shaking, crying, throwing up when you're watching that episode, tell me, how did you manage to flip your humanity switch off? Whether you think that Stefan actually needed to die or not, I think the ending was very beautifully wrapped up. It gets me every time in the best way possible. The promise of peace. Yes, please. And I like how that does tie in a little bit with
What if there's nothing after this? No peace, just darkness.
We know Haley is at peace. They make such a big deal about that like dance that she's waiting on. I think that would have been what really brought it together for me, is if we got to see that dance in the afterlife with Haley and Elijah with some like really well paired song playing alongside of that. I feel like you can kind of tell that they wanted the actors from the originals to make more appearances on Legacies than they do, because the way they like set it up did make it seem like they were going to be involved in Hope's life, and then they're just not. The fact that like Klaus's last family conversation is literally saying like, I know you'll all find ways to come together as a family time and time again, and this is the first time that we're actually seeing them come together as a family since his death. Like it needs to be everything. Like I'm putting so much pressure on Legacies right now. Setting myself up for disappointment. Let's see, have I discussed everything I wanted to? I'm sure not. I'm sure I haven't, but those are my thoughts for today. As always, would love to have a little discussion, especially like it's definitely a different vibe of a video when it's something I've watched before versus something I'm watching for the first time, and definitely a different vibe of a video when it's anything other than Legacies. If you enjoyed this, definitely let me know, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video, which will be the MIKAELSON family reunion episode that I am so excited for. I'll see you guys then. Bye!